How y'all doing, everybody? Good morning. Welcome back to the Still Swinging Podcast, and I'm your host, Thomas. And I'm a I wanted to take y'all, back to when I grew up. You know, um, I'm gonna start in the '80s. You know, because that's when I was choosing my path in life. You know what I'm saying? And I want y'all to get a glimpse in how my path shaped, how I chose it, and the things that happened along the way in my journey. Now I'm gonna break this down in segments because it'll just be too long for me to try to upload. So without further ado, and let me ask y'all to hit the share button, the like button, and the subscribe button, and subscribe to my channel. And I'm gonna continue to bring you the best content available. All right. Choosing my path. The 1980s. I was born in 1973. By 1984, I fully understood that I was going to be a criminal. I was criminal minded. All of my friends were criminal minded. But even at that early age, I knew there was something different about myself and certain individuals that I hung out with. I myself was heavily influenced by the swagger and style of the neighborhood dope boys. But the 80s was a different time. See, that was a time when everybody didn't sell drugs, rob, steal, and carry pistols. But I myself was heavily influenced by the guys who did. See, in the 80s, drugs wasn't as readily available to whoever like they are today. To get drugs and weight, you had to know somebody. But when you was as young as I was, nobody took you serious. So I started out as a flatfoot hustler, stealing, breaking into houses, pickpocketing, snatch and run, breaking in cars, then stealing cars. Now my juvenile delinquent behavior had me in and out of juvenile correctional facilities. My juvenile criminal behavior at a very early age had me well known at my local police station. I remember my first time getting arrested and going to juvenile facilities. I listened to the Brian Glaze story about his first time going to jail, and I laughed because I knew the feeling. But Glaze was 17 years old when he first went to jail. I was 12. Can you imagine me in that bullpen with all these other juvenile delinquents, most of who this was not their first trip or their second? One thing I noticed right off the bat was that they were all bigger than me. I woke up early the next morning in a place called Waxter's Juvenile Detention Center. They woke us up early in the morning for breakfast. After they counted us, it was off to the mess hall. I got my tray, which was a metal tray, sectioned off for portions and servings of different foods. I got my tray and went and sat down next to no one in particular because I didn't know anyone. I wasn't much for eating, but I started in on it. About a minute later, a guy walked up and sat down next to me. I didn't think nothing of it. Then he turned to me and said, "Nigga, who you?" I said, "I'm Tommy. Who you?" He said, "Nigga, fuck you. and took my cereal, took my milk, opened my cereal, poured my milk into my cereal, and started eating it. As the two dudes sitting across from us who sat down with him began to laugh, I got this weird, scared feeling. Keep in mind, I know nothing about the rules, and that now was the time to establish myself. All I knew was that these guys were bigger than me, and that this dude had just bitched me. Now in jail, everybody see everything. And once one nigga chump you and get away with it, you a target for all the wolves. See, in jail, everybody looking for somebody weaker than them. Everybody looking for somebody to pick on. I had no clue of this. I had no clue that I was supposed to take that tray and take it to his ass right there on the spot. So I just sat there looking stupid. When we got back to the unit, I played most of the morning by myself, praying for a miracle to send me home. It never happened. They called lunch. By this time, I was a little hungry. It was hamburgers and fries. I got my tray and sat down about to eat. Right on cue, a different guy sat next to me and stuck his finger in my fruit and said, "Nigga, you ain't eating." In jail, one of the most disrespectful things you can do to someone is fuck with their food. I don't know any of this shit. He slid my tray in front of him and started eating. I looked up and noticed everybody was looking. After lunch, I was hungry. I missed gym that day because I had to see my counselor to do my intake. Then spent most of the day getting stared down and ice grilled by guys looking to intimidate me. They called dinner and I was starving, but I was expecting the worst. But something changed. I sat down and ate and no one bothered me. I later learned that the staff member that worked the mess hall that night wasn't going for that. The next morning was pretty much the same. Breakfast and lunch. I got robbed for my food. Then they called gym. We made our way over to the gym. After entering the gym, we walked past another unit of guys who were bigger and older than us. As we passed, I hear someone say, "Tommy! Tommy!" I looked back and I could see it was a guy from my neighborhood. So I holler back, "Cody! Cody!" It was Cody. When I tried to stop, a staff member told me to keep it moving, so I went and sat down on the bench. And the guy who took my cereal the first day sat beside me and started talking shit to me. About a minute later, Cody appeared. "What's up, Tommy?" I looked up. "What's up, Cody?" I noticed he was staring down the dude who had robbed my cereal and was just talking shit to me. I immediately noticed that guy didn't want to stare down with Cody. So he got up and walked. Cody looked me straight in my face, straight in my eyes, and said, "Nigga, I better not hear no punk shit about you over here. I better not hear you going for nothing over here. If a nigga get out of line with you, you better jump in his shit, or I'm fucking you up." Those was his exact words to me. He said, I'm sending you everything you need over to you when you get back, so you don't have to ask none of these suckers for shit. Then he left. As Cody left, I felt great after that. One, I knew I had to represent. Two, I knew I wasn't alone. That was a big relief. At dinner, the guy who took my burger and fries the day before sat next to me. I thought he was about to try it, so I grabbed my tray tight because we was going to fight. He wasn't taking it. But all he said was, "Why didn't you tell me you knew Cody? Cody is my man." I just ignored him, ate my food, and kept it pushing. The next day, no one tried to rob my food. See, in jail, who you know is just as important as what you know. When we got back on the unit, I played a few games of pool. When I got off the pool table, I went to sit down on a chair. I sat, but someone pulled the chair from under me and boom, on my ass. I looked up. It was the guy who robbed my cereal the first morning, looking down at me laughing. His exact words, "You little bitch, fuck you and that nigga." He said, "And everything that nigga sent you, I want it. All of it." He started laughing as he walked away. I was on my feet in no time. I grabbed a pool stick and ran straight up behind him and cracked him over the head with the pool stick. I tried to beat him to death. Nothing satisfied me more than hearing him screaming with every crack from that pool stick. By the time they got me off of him, the pool stick was in pieces and blood was all over me. I spent about a week in isolation. When I got back to the unit, shit was way different. I had none of the problems I was having before. Needless to say, I was on a tear from that point on. Alright, I'm gonna end this right here, and I'm gonna get back with part 2, and make sure y'all like, make sure y'all hit the share, and make sure y'all subscribe to my channel. And I'm gonna keep trying to bring you the best content available. All right, thanks for joining me, and I'll be back shortly with the next part 2.